How now, brown cow? How now, brown cow?
Power, power.
All right, you guys ready?
Yep. Bring it on.
Thank you for joining us on the inaugural opening address of our channel, The Usual Critics, where regular Joes come and get together and discuss all things film made just for you all. Starting us off, this will be a recurring weekly theme, and as it grows, we'll try to add more and more content. But with all pleasantries out of the way, let me start off by making introductions. Starting off with our fearless leader and starter of this movement, Mr. Juan. Go ahead and say hi to the folks.
Hello, guys.
And joining us next is our residential comic book expert, Joe. Take a bow.
Hey guys, how you doing?
And last but certainly not least, the Raging Cajun himself, Mr. Carlos.
Hello, guys. I like movies.
Yes, that's without a doubt. So, with the niceties being observed, we'll start off a little slow with this first one, and as I said, we'll add more and more content as we can. With our first topic being my personal favorite of today, Star Wars. More specifically, anticipation and excitement for Star Wars The Force Awakens. That being said, Juan, what does Star Wars Episode 7 mean to you?
That's gonna be the last time I saw Star Wars and expected something great from it was when the first episode came out. And we all know how that turned out. So seeing this movie, seeing the first trailer and this last one, I'm just going to say I think it's going to be a very bold statement. I think it's going to be the best Star Wars ever made. It's going to be better than 1 through 6. Why? I believe and hopefully they feel more. I guess there's more on the line. It's been so long, and after these past 3 films that didn't charm us as good as the first 3 did, I feel they're gonna put a lot more emphasis in it. We got John Williams back. The soundtrack is gonna be the same as good. The soundtrack has never been a problem, and I like what. I guess they're gonna have a new feel to it. You know, we all saw Star Trek 1, Star Trek 2, and I love how it's shot. I love how it sounds. I love everything about it. I was always more of a bigger Star Wars fan, so just having that concept, which I think Mr. J.J. Abrams is gonna go for. Hopefully it's the same thing. I feel I will love it, and I will like it best than most of the Star Wars. But that's just me, of course.
A bold claim indeed, and as a fan myself, I hope you're right, but I still have to wait about another month or so as of today. But, Joe, your response.
Oh, well, what can I say? This film, I hope it'll be the redemption of the Star Wars saga. I mean, we ended up with the very first 3 that came out in the 70s and 80s. Really, really high expectation for those, which were met. Then we got the first 3 episodes, which were Medicore at best. So I'm really hoping that this one, like my buddy Juan says, really blows everything out of the water for Star Wars.
Yeah, well, can't argue with that logic. But Carlos, as the least Star Wars fan in the panel today, and I don't mean that as an insult, but it has to be pointed out. What do these films mean to you? And what, as someone who isn't a fan, what's your interpretation on all the hype that it's getting?
I'm a fan of the hype, not gonna lie. I absolutely love J.J. Abrams. Most of the stuff he does, except for what Super 8, I think. Anyways, let's not talk
Yes.
about that. That's probably what has me more excited about this movie. That it's J.J. Abrams. I really like him as a director. I'm not a big fan of Star Wars. I enjoy watching the movies. That guy that growing up saw parts of it. Probably the only thing I knew when I was a little kid was Luke, I am your father. I saw the prequels. Even back then, I knew they were meh. I've seen the original ones. I'm excited for this one. I think it's probably going to be the biggest movie of the year, even though it's not going to be out for that long. And I'll disagree with Juan that it's going to be bigger than Jurassic World in the time span that it's going to be in theaters. Um, yeah, I'm excited. Compared to every other movie that's coming out this year, it's probably the one I'm really looking forward to. Yeah.
That, well, that's certainly true, and I think your sentiments, especially, do a well job of reflecting what most non-Star Wars fans have to look forward to. Because, as you pointed out, I mean, even people who aren't fans, it's having this huge impact. So
Yeah.
that can only mean good things. Let's just hope they keep riding that train.
What about you, Steve? What do you feel?
Uh, I've been a Star Wars fan since I was in the womb. I mean, that I live and breathe Star Wars. It's part of my genetic makeup, and much to what you said earlier, Juan, the prequels were soul crushing in a lot of aspects. They're not the worst films ever made, but as a Star Wars fan, they are terrible. And I still have that horrible taste in my mouth. I think most of us do. And everything I've seen up for Force Awakens has me with high hopes. And I have to agree with Carlos too. I'm a fan of Abrams when it comes to films. Television, not so much, but we don't have to get into television.
Wait,
So
are you
I
talking
have
about
high.
Lost? Let's not talk about
Yeah,
Lost.
let's not. Nobody should ever talk about Lost, and we're not going to. But
No.
I have high hopes for it, uh, and all I can say is December 18th cannot come fast enough.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we'll be talking more and more about Star Wars as the film approaches its release. So on to the next topic. The next topic is favorite directors. So, start off. I'm gonna start off with you, Joe.
All right.
What are if you had to do a Mount Rushmore of directors, who would be on your mountain and why?
Well, let's see. My first one would definitely be Steven Spielberg. I mean, let's face it, he pretty much was a part of my childhood with Jurassic Park, the original Jurassic Park. He also ended up doing some old '70s films that my dad showed me that I also loved from him. I think one of them was called The Duel or something like that, and I love that film. Uh, Also, I mean, it's Steven Spielberg. I mean, who else can you name that is not a top five
E.T.
director?
Don't forget E.T.
Oh yeah, E.T. E.T. as well.
Jaws.
Jaws. Like I said, what movie that you cannot name that has his name attached to it? That's not a loved movie by everyone.
Well, an argument can be made by a couple, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right.
Besides Spielberg, who would be next?
Second one. Well, this one is a bit of a more recent director, but I've been loving his stuff for quite a while now. Matthew Vaughn. I've been really liking the stuff he's been directing as of late. I love the movie recommended from him, Stardust. I love that film, which I had never heard
You're
before,
welcome.
but thank you, sir. Uh, Also, the Kick-Ass, the first Kick-Ass, Kingsman, and apparently he's gonna do the sequel for Kingsman, which is rare in him because he never does, sequels. Also, I gotta give him credit for revitalizing the X-Men franchise, for bringing in back in First Class after the whole mess with Wolverine Origins. So that would be my second pick. For my third pick, it would be an indie, well, more of a indie director. Carpenter. I love his films as well, and mostly I know he's not that mainstream. He's more an indie film director, but I would really rank him high up there. And my fourth one would be James Cameron. I mean, come on, James Cameron. True Lies, the
Yeah,
first two
True
Terminators.
Lies, dude.
Yeah, I just love it for when it comes to action.
Very nice, very nice. Carlos, do you have your four?
Um,
And just to be
I
clear,
have
it's in no particular order.
3,
Just
and I'm
okay.
having trouble picking another one, so go ahead and skip me
Okay.
for now.
Well,
I,
get your
I don't mind
this in
going
order.
next.
Go right ahead.
Well, I think we're all gonna choose Steven Spielberg. You know what? And I'm gonna go out and say it. Due to our age similarities, we grew up watching E.T., we grew up watching Jurassic Park, we grew up watching Jaws, and it's he's a movie director that, as I've told Steve before, no one does movies more light inspiring, hopeful. Even with he always collaborates with Mr. John Williams, probably my favorite composer. Um, so his style just makes him amazing for me. I mean, I can go on about what movies he's done. E.T., Jaws, like I said, they're all classics. I think he is the when you think movie director, he must be the most successful one. So that would be the first one. The second one would have to be Martin Scorsese for me, at least. That guy is just goddamn wow. Like he might not have might not be like a blockbuster person like Steven Spielberg that just throws it out of the park, but every movie he does is beautiful. I can honestly say if he had 100 films, I'd love 95 of them. I can talk about all of them. Raging Bull, The Wolf of Wall Street, one of the latest ones. I even like Shutter Island. He always collaborates with the same people, amazing actors, DiCaprio, De Niro.
Did
Just
he do Shutter Island?
he did
Sorry.
Shutter Island, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's Scorsese and DiCaprio.
He just
Like the
he
14th
just
guy.
has I guess you could say a style that everyone loves. If you think movie films and everything as an art, I would say he has it up there. The next person, this is where it's gonna go like all over the place for me, would be probably Hitchcock. He is the pioneer of movies, and as even though I've seen very few of his films, Psycho, Birds, um, he with the little that he had back then, he just did something that's why he's considered one of the greatest directors of all time. We can go back and think about it. Psycho, we still think of that one scene. The Birds, what he did with the music, with the way he shot things, the suspensefulness, and he made it work when there was nothing there. I would have him up there. Am I gonna say he is my favorite director? No, but I have to give credit where credit's due, and Mr. Hitchcock definitely deserves it. The last one is just gonna be. I was having a hard time. I was having a very hard time. Um, for those for those that don't know me, I'm a huge horror person, horror films, and sorry, Carlos, sorry, man. It was gonna be Mr. Fincher up there because he is my favorite director. I love everything about him. All of the movies he does have been my favorite. But if I were to choose the fourth one, just on a biased, way, it would have to be Mr. Wes Craven. He has so many films for me that just, I guess you could say I grew up with also, and the way he did them, like no one. I mean, we have Scream, one of my favorite films. It just is not even a scary film. Just everything it does about it, it's amazing. A Nightmare on Elm Street, it's Freddy Krueger. He has the old school, the last house on the left or something. The last house on the left, yeah. They did a remake, and I think he also did it. Um, a lot of people didn't watch Wishmaster, but I watched it, and yeah, he would have to be my favorite just due to the fact that he's my favorite horror film director. Um, Romero would be up there, but I mean, he just had zombies, and I love zombies, but those would be my four. And like I said, the last one is just the fact that he's my favorite.
All right, interesting list. Did not see Wes Craven coming, but shouldn't be that surprised coming from you. Carlos, you think you got four?
All right. God damn it. All right, so there goes Christopher Nolan. But he's up there. First one, I'll go Martin Scorsese just because Juan already picked him. And I was looking over his movies. He has, I mean, rarely anything bad. And you mentioned most of them. The one that I probably like the most is Goodfellas. I remember I was born in '89. Remember when I was younger watching that with my dad. Really, really distant memory watching that movie. Yeah, as a little kid. Um, I've always loved it. Every time it's on TV, I just gotta watch it. Martin Scorsese, he's up there, man. He's up there for me. Next one, I don't know. Did you pick Ridley Scott one?
I was going to.
No,
Oh,
it's still available.
yeah, I was going to, man. But
Uh,
I agree if you have him up there.
yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Ridley Scott, man. Just
Yes. Thank you.
most of his movies are just uh,
Classics.
He does a good job, man. He does a good job, and he directed Gladiator, which is your favorite movie, and I'm surprised you don't have him up there.
I know. It's not my favorite. It's not a favorite list. It's a
Yeah,
Mount Rushmore. But I'm glad you chose him. I'm glad someone chose him.
yeah, he has to be up there. Um, I might be going faster because you already mentioned those, but one I really really like, and I started getting into when I started picking up more on movies, reviewing them, paying more attention to detail, going back and watching old movies. This guy popped up, David Fincher. I mean, I know who he is. I just said it like I don't know who he is, but The Social Network, man. That movie, I really, really like that movie. The way it's directed, the way it's shot, the soundtrack. Um, the guy from Nine Inch Nails, what's his name? Trent Reznor. He always works with them. He worked with them in Gone Girl. He directed Fight Club. The remake of The Girl with the Giant Tattoo, which was okay. I mean,
I loved it.
I'm gonna go with the original was classic. The original was better. I like them. I like both of them. And the last one, this is my favorite director. I'm surprised I have him number one. After I started going over this list, I'm like, wow, this is my favorite director. It's Quentin Tarantino. Dude, this guy, every movie he makes, even though I have that bad review on Inglourious Bastards, everything Tarantino makes, I love the dialogue, man. That there's never a part where you're bored in his movies. Every time people are just talking, you're so immersed in the way the conversation flows with the movie and everything he makes. Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, even Django, which was a little bit controversial, was good. Kill Bill. I mean, the list goes on, and I really like his movies. So
Yeah,
that's my number one.
I like your Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
It's very
I
impressive.
had to let go of Christopher Nolan, man. I think he still has movies.
I
I
understand. I
I think
understand.
he has good movies, and I like the way he directs. But I think in a couple years he might be up there.
I think it's because I think he's a stronger, like I guess you could say producer and screen like a writer than
Yeah.
he is as a director. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I love him though. He's in my top five, top 10 for sure.
Yeah. Steve.
Well, you all took most of the good ones, so I won't go into details on the ones you. I'll just list the ones you already mentioned. Definitely, for sure, right now Tarantino's definitely one of them. Out of all of the films he's done, there's only one I honestly can say I don't like, and that's a track record that has to be acknowledged. So, for me,
This is for Tarantino.
yeah, for Tarantino,
Was it a collaboration with Robert Rodriguez?
yes, it was.
Oh,
I
okay,
do
there
not
you go.
like Death Proof. every other film, including Inglorious Bastards,
Yeah, that might be at the bottom of the
are
list
just
for my favorite movies
are
that
just
he's been involved with.
spectacular. Jackie Brown, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
You know, it's just you can't. At least for the most part, in my opinion, you can't go wrong.
Mm-mm.
Spielberg helped mold my childhood, and ironically enough, I don't like everything. I just recently saw Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and everyone raves about it, but I just couldn't. I mean, I got through it, but I didn't necessarily find it like a religious experience like I found. Probably one of my favorite series that's Indiana Jones. I mean, he helped
Yeah.
omitting the last film, which was just horrendous, and unfortunately, he was a part of it. And he just, everyone has a bad day at the office. He dropped the ball on that one. Can't be said. It has to be said. But Indiana Jones, another good collaboration with John Williams, as you mentioned earlier, Juan. Those films are just
Yeah,
the
it's a
trilogy's spectacular.
the duel, man.
Of course, it's nine times out of 10, you can't go wrong with them working together. Another one that no one mentioned yet, but is definitely up there and I believe deserves recognition, is Stanley Kubrick. I mean, you go back and watch Full Metal Jacket. That is
Um,
a cinematic milestone.
I believe Saul's not here, but Saul had him in his top three.
I'm gonna be
Yeah.
that guy, and I'm always that guy. I know he's a good director. I've never seen most of his movies.
No, yeah, I mean,
You don't
he's
have
from that.
to though. You don't have to. It's like I was telling Saul. The way he's a great director and maybe he was ahead of his time, but like for
That
the
shows in his work.
yeah
Definitely.
for the ideas that he had back then is mind blowing, but with the little that he had to work with, and that's what I was telling Saul. Um, I just didn't get into too many films. The only one I got into with everyone, and everyone's gonna agree, is Full Metal Jacket, Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to
Which is
mention.
on Netflix.
Yeah,
When you watch Clockwork Orange, that
it's
is
ahead of
such a
its
mind.
time.
It's such a
Yeah.
mind bend. It takes multiple viewings, and even
I still
then,
need to see it, so no spoilers.
no spoilers. Man, that goes through everyone out there. But that movie has so much for you to digest that it requires multiple viewings. And then by the time you start getting all of that information, then you start formulating your opinion of it. And there's some people who hate that film, and that's why I don't think Kubrick gets enough recognition. Not because the movie isn't good. I think that movie was so ahead of its time. It has all these layers that you keep peeling as you watch it over and over again. I think that's what a bulk of his work is, which is why he's not like Spielberg, where Spielberg just covers Americana so great that it resonates with everyone and you get it. It's not his movies aren't complicated. They're masterfully done, but they're not complicated. That's why they appeals to a mass audience. Whereas Kubrick is more of the thinking man's director.
Yeah.
Fincher, which is another one I'd have up there for sure. But I mean, you guys already mentioned him, and that's 3. So the final one I would have to pick, and I'm only gonna do this just because this one film this director did revolutionized cinema, but I don't necessarily think he's a great director. But I gotta give it to George Lucas. Without Star Wars, you would not have
Wow.
modern advancements to cinema. And I don't even like most of his films, but he deserves a spot up there.
We need a.
Wow.
This is the perfect time.
Yes, the master of memes himself. But that should have been expected. But that's my list, and and yes, it's the dynamic duo themselves. But more on that later.
I mean, you know what? I agree. Nah, I'm sorry, bro. I can't. But let's move on, shall we?
Yeah. To our final topic of the day. What is everyone's most anticipated film that is coming up? Not beholden to 2016, just anything that you're dying.
You started off, Steve. I I need to. Yeah, I'm still.
I think we should stick to 2016 and whatever's left, and leave other years for another podcast.
Yeah, I agree.
It might be too difficult.
It's very. I'm having a hard time with just 2016 and 2015 alone.
I
You
mean,
better start saving money for that.
next year you got
And I
what?
mean,
Days of Future Past, Civil War.
You know
I
the
mean,
crazy thing? Days of Future Past isn't even in there. Like,
Oh,
I'm just fed up. I mean, yeah, Age of Apocalypse. I'm just fed up
oh, I'm sorry.
with like superhero movies. Like, that's it.
Come on.
That's it.
Come on, man.
That's it. I mean, you're the comic book person, but like, it is getting to a point where yeah, they're epic and everything. And you know what? I'll start it off, Steve. And that's why my most anticipated movie is The Revenant. Sorry, I just
fantastic.
I see that trailer, and it's just greatness coming. It's just you got Leo probably coming. I don't know if you guys read, but that guy slept with a dead carcass.
Wow.
He
Yes,
slept.
that's part of his method act.
He slept with a dead carcass.
I mean, that doesn't guarantee you a great performance, but it's interesting.
But he,
Tell that to Daniel Day Lewis.
yeah, I can assure you. Look, if there's one thing happening, and you know what, I'm gonna stand by my guns. I'm feeling a little tipsy. Leo DiCaprio, Oscar, 2016. It's coming. It's coming. You have
honorable sentiment.
you have Tom Hardy, and I'm gonna say it. Tom Hardy is amazing, and it pisses me off because I've been wanting him to get an Oscar, and I don't want to jinx it, but Leo makes other actors better. It's been known to happen, and the last thing I want is for him to outshine him, and it belittles Leo. So that being said, you have an amazing storyline for you guys that haven't seen the trailer. It's pretty much about a father. He has a I guess you could say half son Indian European. I'm guessing they don't say much on his mother, but you know he goes back to save him. Tom Hardy's a little bit indifferent with that idea of him going back for his Indian son. Basically, you see where his son gets killed by Tom Hardy. You know, Leo, being a badass that he is, he gets mauled by a bear. He survives. He gets buried alive. He survives. He's going up after Tom Hardy. It's just too much greatness. It was filmed on natural lighting, something that's just. I don't see any fault in this movie, and I am very confident that it will be probably one of my favorite movies.
So, what attracts you the most about this movie? Was it the trailer or all that background?
Everything, the trailer, the actors, how far he's willing to go, what the directors like. As soon as they said the natural lighting, I was just it's gonna be amazing. The director, I can never pronounce his,
Inarritu?
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Inarritu.
Yeah, I can never pronounce it on the first try, but that guy is just. I mean, God, come on, guys, look who it is. If I were to say in 30 years there's gonna be another great director, it's him. It's him. He might be another Martin Scorsese. So yes, it is The Revenant, and I'm very confident with that. I'm not gonna buy into this whole superhero movies. Sorry, not this year.
Well, it is something that those major studios need to probably start worrying about in the future is comic book hero fatigue. But that's a question for another time. Great choice. Iñárritu just won Best Director last year at the Academy, and he propels cinema to another level. And as a fun fact side note, he's best friends with Guillermo del Toro and Alfonso Cuarón, who are other great filmmakers
Or Mexican?
who are Mexican, but whose
don't
films
say
I
that.
just enjoy. So, he comes from good stock, and we'll just leave it at that. Joe, Muslim.
Well, as of trailer wise, as of right now, it's Batman Superman.
Batman, Superman. Woo! I just bashed you.
Damn.
I just bashed you, Joe. What are you gonna? You need to support this, man. I need to feel it. Why?
Well, let's see now.
And those posters behind you aren't gonna help.
Uh, Many people have waited their entire lives to finally see the two most iconic superheroes ever come together on the screen. I mean, people have been waiting years for this to happen. Am I wrong, Carlos?
No, no, no. You're completely right.
So I'm more than 100% sure that this movie is definitely gonna bring in all kinds of money, and it's gonna bring in a new generation of fans to it, and
Okay.
that's pretty much the reason why.
By the
Well,
time we get there, it was supposed to come out this summer. They pushed it to next summer because of Age of Ultron, I believe. So
Civil War.
I'm sorry, Civil War. Well, Age of Ultron came out this year.
No, yeah, but they moved back a year, and then they had the same date as Civil War, so
Okay.
they pushed back 3 months before that, or a couple of months before. That's just to keep that on perspective.
Yeah.
to answer your question, Carlos, I already doubt the fatigue pretty much not happening because we're dealing with totally different sides of the spectrum. I mean, you got Marvel on one side with their whole comedy style type of filmmaking, and you got the DC side with their dark and humorless version of their movies. So it's pretty much a different spectrum. Same
I
genre, but different spectrum.
I agree, and you're right. But I've told Carlos and I've told Steve this several times. I'm more infatuated with Marvel and DC going at it as far as the successfulness to it, and not just them, but I guess you could say what is it, Fox Studio? No,
Yeah, 20th Century
Yeah.
Fox.
yeah, 20th, and
And Sony.
Sony. Um, it's just that it's gotten too. It's gotten too. I guess you could say it's gotten out of hand. It's gotten out of hand, and it's
Why?
because, come on, man, like
Dude,
Well,
they're
okay,
building.
you know what? If it were to be something where like they had their own storyline, it's fine. But we've all seen the storyline. We've all seen what's gonna happen. Like it's
Now you're talking Marvel or DC.
you know if
We don't know squat about DC.
if Marvel were to do what Peter Jackson did to Lord of the Rings, then I'd be okay with it and I'd shut the hell up. But they don't. They don't.
It's called Infinity Wars, dude. They're gonna do that. Trust me.
Let me see them get 11 Oscars, and then you can give me a call. But that's
Well-
I'm sorry to rip on you, Joe. It's just I'm really passionate about this. This was one of those things that I've just too many superhero movies. It's too many, too many.
Ah, dude. If that were the truth, we've been seeing a declining trend. Each film has been getting more money, and you get new characters every time. It's not the same ones. I mean, Ant Man, for example, Ant Man. Who knew about Ant Man? Who knew about Guardians? Who would have?
That's true.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you have a raccoon in a tree that are becoming even more famous than even Superman himself. They made more money than Superman himself.
Okay, look, I'll digress with this. We'll see when the movies come out.
You got a long way to go.
Well, I mean, there's certainly no doubt that that movie's going to make money. Whether or not it's good is still up in the air, and I worry a little because
You return Zack Snyder?
as a visual director, he's almost second to none. But I saw Sucker Punch, and
Well, just to let you know,
just throwing that out there.
the script was rewritten by an Oscar-winning director. What's his name? Chris Terrio.
So I'm hoping that will only add to its success. But we still have to wait 5 more months or 6 till we find that out. So, with that being said, Carlos, most anticipated film for you.
Okay. You guys need to stop making me make lists and then cut them. Cause damn.
You can only pick one.
Can I name the ones in my list though?
Yeah,
You can,
yeah,
but you
name
have
one,
to tell
that's
us
fine.
which
Okay.
one you pick
The,
above the rest.
the legend, Tom Hardy, in two rows.
Oh
He's
yeah, that's
his
true.
twin. That's I can't wait for that just to see how he does on screen against himself. And the Revenant, I mean, it's
Yeah.
up there, man. It's Inaritu, loved Birdman, loved DiCaprio, loved Tom Hardy, Trumbo, Walter White, Bryan Cranston. Just that guy in that role looks like he's going to be amazing. Spectre, James Bond, just
But that's coming out this year.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
that
going over
doesn't matter. Yeah,
2015.
yeah, it doesn't matter.
This is all the rest of 2015.
Yeah.
Star Wars, it's up there, but it's not my favorite one. And then I had to pick between The Hateful Eight and the other movie that I think, Juan, I'm sorry to disappoint, but back-to-back Oscars for Best Actor, The Danish Girl. This guy, uh, what's his name? Steve, help me out here. Eddie
Eddie
Redmayne.
Redmayne.
This role, man, he, I mean, you once you put him in that makeup, that trailer, he grabs you. Um, I think he's gonna take it. I'm sorry. I love DiCaprio, and I think he's gonna lose once again. This guy is probably going to blow it out of the water with this movie. So between The Danish Girl and The Hateful Eight, which I'm a Tarantino fan, um, really looking forward more to The Danish Girl. Why would I pick that over Tarantino? I have no idea. It just grabs me more, and I can't wait to see him perform in that movie. So just to go against Juan and not pick the same movie, um, The Danish Girl is probably my most anticipated movie of this year. That's my statement.
Carlos coming in with the blind side. That's a great pick. Tarantino fan myself, I think I can guess why you're not picking Hateful Eight over the Danish Girl. Because Hateful Eight is another Western, and we sort of got one with
Yeah,
Django.
we saw that from Django. Yeah, it's not. It's gonna be. It's gonna be. It looks like a good movie, but it's not something new. We already saw that Western, so I gotta
Yeah,
go with The
and I mean,
Danish Girl.
he's doing his usual shtick of um, showing us in his films that he's such a huge
Yeah,
film nerd. He's shooting it in 70 millimeter. The movie's getting a limited release in,
yeah.
I think, New York and LA only, where they're going to show it in theaters that can.
Right. That's enough Tarantino bashing now.
It's not bashing. I'm just pointing that out. That's just how he is. And then we're going to get wide release everywhere. So while I'm definitely looking forward to Hateful Eight, it's
Yeah.
not my pick. Danish Girl and Revenant are up there. And
Yeah.
Joe, you know me. I love the Man of Steel and I love the Dark Knight, so I'm definitely looking forward to Batman v Superman, and of course Star Wars. I mean, the fact that I'm still waiting for it, I don't understand why this is happening, but that's my personal. But just to add some variety and to bring some attention to this film, the one I'm looking forward to the most is probably Jon Favreau's The Jungle Book, because
Oh,
that trailer, man,
Wow,
that
you just took a jab right there.
I mean,
I forgot about that.
you watch that one and it's just um
yeah.
they showed this 3.5 minute trailer, or it's about 3 minute trailer at Disney's D23 convention that they still haven't released online. That's the only one they showed, just to the people there. But it's a longer extended version. You get to hear more of the actor's voice, using their voice talents, and it shows you more. And from the synopsis I read online, it just sounds amazing. And no, man, and even that short trailer we got is just fantastic.
That voice casting.
When they, it's phenomenal casting. And when they premiered the trailer, Jon Favreau came out and he said, everything you see here was shot in a studio in LA. Like they didn't do on-site locations in the Amazon. All of that is, but it's rendered beautifully. Yeah. And everyone's mind is just blown away that it's all just artificial, but looks sublime. And that cast, I mean, it's stacked. Scarlett Johansson, Bill Murray, Christopher Walken, Idris Elba. And the only one who's actually acting in person is the little boy who's playing Mowgli, who is, from what I understand, is an unknown. Mm-hmm. So definitely the Jungle Book, man. All those other picks you guys have, I can't wait for them as well. But just so everyone out there, find something else to look forward to. Some of that counter programming. Guys, if you haven't seen it yet, go and check out that Jungle Book trailer.
Yeah, you're right. That movie would be the ace in the hole. Um, I believe if
Is
all
that
the
coming
other,
out Christmas? Christmas?
Let me double check on that.
I think so. But
yeah, God damn it, I honestly forgot about that film.
yeah,
It
it's
should
a good
it
thing.
should be. I don't know. I still stand
Yeah,
strong behind the
I'm
Revenant.
sticking with my Danish girl.
I don't know.
They're all great picks.
Yeah,
Can't
it's.
go wrong.
I just like the fact that we didn't all pick Batman versus Superman because I assure you that's probably the one we're all most excited about.
Oh yeah, no,
I hate.
just
You know what? I'm just gonna say it. As much as taking all my movie, I guess you can say hype and all this. Um, I probably am gonna be there in line for Batman versus Superman.
You have to, man. You have to.
You
It's the
have
yeah.
first
to.
time
I
we
mean,
see Superman, Batman on film. It's gonna be
So
amazing.
as much as I bashed you, Joe, that was just my film person talking. I just needed to get my, I guess you could say, my Superman fanboy out. But I, the only reason I wouldn't say I'm too looking forward to this is because I'm a huge Superman fan, and then I see it coming. There's too many Batman fans in there. I know I see it coming a mile away, like Batman winning or something like that.
well, you don't even have to go that far. Look, they're basing it off the source material is in and of itself designed to make Superman look like a chump and quote unquote loses in the source material. Doesn't
Yeah.
actually lose, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole that we don't want to go to right now.
Yeah,
I just
Yeah.
want to. I think it's safe to say that we're all desperately waiting for all of these films. That one is
Yeah.
just childish glee that we're waiting to expand on.
yeah,
Whereas films like The Danish Girl and The Revenant and Jungle Book are just cinematic experiences we want to just engorge ourselves on, and we want to see masters at work. But there's nothing wrong with just watching a good old fashioned comic book. And if
Yep.
it's everything we want and more, then please continue to feed me because I personally can't wait. Well,
Yep.
everyone, we went through everything relatively well. I'm gonna just wrap up in a few minutes, but I just do want to point out we will be doing this on a weekly basis, and in the coming weeks and months, we hope to bring in a revolving door of different guests and panelists, and we want to try to cover more topics as we can.
if you guys want us to review a movie, just let us know and we'll have it there too.
We'll set up some sort of communication so you can submit all those requests and all that, and hopefully you enjoy this. And until next time, this is the usual critics signing off.